Hi guys, welcome to a special crossover episode of my podcast, Happy, Sad, Confused, and the Metaverse. You know my guest today as Steve Harrington, of course, from Stranger Things. He's got a crazy new movie called Spree in theaters and on VOD right now. We're going to talk about all of it and his favorite comfort movie. It's a good choice. It's a good guest. It's Joe Keery.
Hey, how's it going?
Cue
Thanks for
applause.
having me.
It's good to see you, buddy.
You too.
So let's talk life right now. We were saying just before we got going here today that yeah, it's the preamble to every conversation is like, what's life like for you now? Have you adjusted? What does Joe Keery's life look like in lockdown right now?
I mean, uh, yeah, it's pretty crazy. It's kind of the first thing you talk about with anybody you talk to, I would imagine, especially for you. But man, crazy. The last time we saw each other was at Sundance, and it was like the world is crazy different. I've been good. I've been occupying my time pretty well. I make music, so I'm lucky enough to like kind of have that as a thing that I can do day to day and keep busy and make it feel like I'm, working towards something. But you know, it's a good time to be creative. It's
Yeah,
the only time this is probably ever going to happen. So enjoy it for what it is. But I'll tell you what, I'm ready to like go to a party or something. I'm feeling like
yeah,
ready for some social interaction.
totally, totally. This is yeah, we're all going to be scarred in different ways coming out of this. It's
I know.
a once in a generation event, and hopefully, like you said, some interesting art will somehow come out of it too.
Yeah, I hope so.
So talk to me about where were you at like when this all went down? I mean, I know Stranger Things had started shooting. Had you started to shoot the season 4 stuff yet, or what?
Yeah, we had just started. We had, I think it was what it was in March or something that this happened. So in February, we began at the beginning or at the end of February, we began shooting, and we probably got about a couple weeks in, um, and then I was actually back here sort of when that it was like that week of things unfolding. It was kind of kind of a scary week, and I thought to myself, there's no way we're going to go back. Flew back actually to Atlanta to shoot a little bit more, and then they closed set down. And I've pretty much been here ever since. Um, Man, wasn't that crazy? That was insane.
Well, the weird thing was, yeah, none of us knew at the time. It was like, is this 2 weeks? Is this 2 months? Is this
Right.
whatever? And then it just keeps going on and on. I mean, like, did you for a while kind of were you still in the Stranger Things had space for a while? You're like, okay, I'll get back. We're taking a break. Hopefully, we'll get back to work soon. Has it been odd to know that like you probably don't even know when you're going back to work? I assume.
Yeah, I
So
think that's probably the hardest. Yeah, it's probably the hardest. It's just like the date pushing and stuff, and because it's nice to be in like it's nice to have a second to prepare for work, whatever you're doing, have your time to do whatever your process is for any job. I would imagine it's nice to just like kind of get your sea legs. So the unknown is a little can be a little scary, but um everyone in the world is kind of going through this right now.
yeah,
I mean, our country is kind of not doing so well, but so at least it's like a humankind experience and not just like
yeah,
a solo thing. That I think would be far harder.
yeah. Going through this, we're all in
Yeah.
this craziness together. You alluded to it before. The last time I saw you was at Sundance, which was an
Right.
exciting moment for you. I mean, you were starring
Great.
in your first like feature film front and center. This is kind of one of the first big gigs post or during Stranger Things. The movie is Spree. Talk to me. We talked a little bit about this, but just give me a sense of sort of where your head was at. You know, Stranger Things is up and running. It's happening. Your fame, your juice for whatever you want to call it, is growing. Why was Spree the thing to jump into?
I think it was just really different than anything else that I had read at the time. Um, I think kind of it, I had gotten some interest in being in some like teen sort of romance movies, and after reading a bunch of those, I was like, I just this doesn't feel quite right. And I read Spree, and was initially kind of shocked and scared at the prospect of maybe doing it, but also very excited. But truly, I think the thing that sealed the deal was meeting Eugene and sitting down with him, the director of the film, and I mean, you meet a lot of people in the industry, but only a finite amount of people have like a really strong view and have a deep understanding of kind of like the meaning of the story, the meaning of the character, what they're trying to, portray with this. And it felt like he and I had sort of a shared, he has a deeper knowledge of the internet than I do, but we kind of like crossed, you know, we had a similar understanding of the character off the bat. And, yeah, it was like, well, this is insane and crazy and could blow up, but it also could be really powerful and say something that really needs to be said. I mean, I think this film is really just a satire and provides a really interesting commentary on the internet and hopefully makes people talk about their relationship to social media because I mean, I know that throughout production and talking about the movie with other people, that's pretty much what I've been doing myself. And I think it's important because it's such a core part of our society. And it kind of just came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It just is like all of a sudden iPhone comes about in 2007 and then we're all addicted to social media. It's like, it happened really fast. So seemed like a cool project and good themes, good people.
You definitely found if I was putting teen romance at one end of the spectrum, you found the other end of the
Yeah,
spectrum.
this would be considered teen romance. I think this is about as far as you can get.
Mission
Yeah,
accomplished.
definitely,
It is a
definitely.
provocative, kind of crazy movie that, yeah, as you said, I mean, it is a satire and very, very relevant to our times. You play Kurt, who's like a rideshare driver, who's kind of obsessed with growing his influence, his social media influence. And whether you're a celebrity or whoever nowadays, that is a big part of how we assess our own worth. It's
Totally.
tragically, I think. And you have an interesting perspective on that. Like, you had fame. Fame kind of happened pretty quickly for you, kind of an overnight story in a weird way. Once Stranger
Mhm.
Things hits, I'm sure your follower count must have gone from 500 to a million in 2 months, something insane. Did you
For
find,
sure,
yeah,
for
talk to me
sure.
about what that was like for you.
Well, yeah, I had the perspective of, being a 22-year-old, 23-year-old and having it sounds so stupid, honestly, to talk about, but like having a regular, it, I guess, normal relationship to social media where I had, 150 followers who were my friends. And it was like, I would use it for fun and be funny and, a way to like maybe connect with some artists or something like that. Um, and then yeah, now I know the other side of it of people wanting to use it for advertising, and it's really bizarre. It's definitely changed my relationship with it, and I also think that our society in general is becoming more and more attached at the hip to it because it's now a way to make money for people, a way to promote yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think it's really important to be aware of it, I guess, and be able to critique yourself and your relationship with it. I think I have a hard time with it, and I struggle with that. And um, yeah, I think the movie was designed to really kind of bring attention to it and bring attention to another big problem that we have in our country as well is kind of you know this gun violence and this idea that you deserve some sort of fame or deserve some sort of following, and it's designed to kind of like take those people down a peg and make everyone laugh and see how ridiculous this is.
Right.
um,
It's curious because, like, it took me a while. I feel like a dinosaur. I started, like, when my career started, it was all about, it wasn't even about much of the internet. It was really TV focused. And then
yeah,
the internet superseded television. And then, you started hearing about influencers and YouTubers. And I kind of had the prejudice early on, like, can a YouTuber, can an influencer be super creative? Do they deserve the spotlight as much as someone that kind of did it old school? But I don't know. I mean, like, I've kind of come around. I don't know about you. Like, as silly as it sounds to old Josh, like, it takes a certain charisma, it takes a certain something to, like, open up a box and make that entertaining on
oh,
YouTube.
you got to hand it to them. I
Yeah.
mean, for sure, I completely agree. And what I really love about it is that anybody can do it. And if you have like the tools are accessible for anyone, and it's kind of like a great equalizer, which I think is really good and just kind of creates more of a level playing field and equal opportunity for everybody. I think just being in touch with the reasons that you're doing certain things is maybe that's the crux of it, I guess. But yeah, no, I think there's there's good and bad things about everyone. It's definitely not intended to demonize everybody who is a influencer or anything like that. Just critique it.
Do you know your own Instagram follower count, your own Twitter follower account, or like how disconnected are you, or do you like? If I asked you now, would you know it?
I know now. It's like I think it's 7 million, like around there. It's crazy. Yeah, it's like but I mean, honestly, Josh, it's like completely beyond. I don't know. It's just like a number. Really, it doesn't really. It's hard to even connect that that's like a bunch of people. You know.
Do you ever? I think we talked about this before. We talked once about like how cool it was to like find out certain people you admire were following you on social media.
Yeah.
What about like initiating relationships? Like, have you DM'd people you admire over social media, or do you find that kind of like a bridge too far?
Here and there. I mean, I have. I don't know. I mean, really, honestly, in the last year, I really do feel like my relationship with it has completely shifted. I just feel more hesitant and more nervous, really, about using it, and just feels like it means it used to just be sort of fun, and now it sort of maybe carries too much weight. And so, and I also kind of, in the age where everything is sort of accessible and you can see what your favorite person is up to at all times, I've started to kind of take a little bit more value in the mystery of things. And it's like somebody, like say a musician releases one song or one album every 2 years. Maybe it makes that album mean a little bit more than if you're releasing a song every other week. And I think that's a trend in our culture. I think especially associated with like streaming service things, especially for music, where the more you put out stuff, the more you can monetize it. So yeah, I mean, what were we talking about? I don't know.
It's okay. That's part of the phenomenon of these quarantine conversations is like we're both in our bubbles, and I'm just like looking out my window in New York. What a lovely day.
Yeah.
Well, here's what we're talking about. We're talking about your career and how Spree is a big moment. But if you'll indulge me, can we go back a little bit to the beginning, or at least the beginning when your career kind of took off, which is obviously with Stranger Things. When you got that job, was it clear that that was a big moment, or was it just another audition, another gig at the time?
No, I was pretty excited about it. Honestly, I had read the pilot for the show like 2 months earlier, something like that, and auditioned and didn't hear anything. Thought it was totally. I was living in Chicago and thought I was totally. It was gone. Whatever. The lookbook was like amazing. They made this great trailer. The brothers, they did a really great job just pitching the show. And then kind of my sister actually got married, and then I auditioned for the show. It was kind of like a snowball effect. All happened really quick, and then I got a call when I was at work, and I had to go outside and take the call. And they're like, at that point, I think it was like House of Cards was the main. Maybe Orange is the New Black was also on Netflix. I don't really remember, but it's like, oh, dude, Netflix, that would be a huge gig. I had done like Nintendo commercials and like little bit parts on TV, so it seemed like a pretty cool job at the time. Yeah, I was pumped.
Is it weird for you to go back and look at clips from the first season? Like, what do you remember of what were you confident then? Did you feel like you had a beat on the character? What's it like?
I think I had a pretty good understanding of what I wanted to do, and I was maybe a little like, just because I hadn't done like a lot of TV or film stuff, I was a little bit like less, maybe like self-conscious in myself. Maybe I was like just there doing the job, I just kind of, and then I remember watching and being like, whoa, this is really bizarre to like watch yourself on, it's just weird. You kind of, it's like to see your body and to see your face, it's like really kind of crazy. And I'm sure it was that way. I remember talking to all my friends back in Chicago, and they're all like, "Yeah, it's like fun, but it's pretty weird. It's pretty weird to watch you. It kind of takes you out of the show, maybe."
Yeah, yeah. Did you know Steve's arc in the first season? Did you know he was going, because you obviously progress a lot through the entire series, but especially even that first season. Did you know that there was going to be a progression for that character when you started?
Not a ton. I knew. No, I mean, I think I was like a 2 episode guy or 3 episode guy at first, just like a side player, or I don't know what the term is, but I mean, yeah, as the shooting progressed, the brothers just wrote more for me to do. I don't think the scripts had been completed yet, so they were writing as the show was shooting. So luckily, I was able to just keep working, and they wanted to keep having me along, which was great.
Who do you most look forward to, generally speaking, of sharing scenes with? Is there one actor, one character?
Hard to say. I mean, there are so many great actors on this show. I mean, last year working with Gaten and Maya and Priya was amazing. That was so fun. We had such a nice time. But always love working with Charlie and Natalia. I haven't really worked with Charlie, honestly, as much as I would have liked to. But, the whole gang, Finn, love him. Hey, there's so many. It's just, it's hard to pick. I can't pick one, otherwise that would be me.
Everybody but Harbor, basically.
Yeah, like what sibling do you like the most? It's like, who do you like better, mom or dad?
Exactly.
I can't answer.
What about a season? Do you have a season just that from like an outside looking in perspective, not even for your own character, but a season that you enjoyed the most?
I think the first season is incredible. That's hard to. It's like saying which Star Wars movie you like best. It's like the first Star Wars. It's always, I don't know. Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, Empire's pretty good. Let's be real.
Maybe Back and Birth.
Are there actors and filmmakers that you've come across? I mean, it must be crazy to come across again actors and filmmakers that you grew up admiring that say they love Stranger Things. Has that been a unique experience when you run across somebody that says they're a fan of your work and they're a fan of the show?
Ridiculous. Absolutely the craziest thing ever. It's like,
is there one that jumps out running into somebody at an award show or something?
Me and Dacre, who plays Billy on the show, we're standing like those press lines where they take it's like you're waiting. It's so stupid. But we're standing there, we're waiting. I had my hair is at the biggest mullety phase, and I was like, I look like such an idiot. And Angelina Jolie tapped us, but she said, "We love the show. We watched it. Me and the kids watched the show. Great job." Or something like that. And then just walked by. It was really fast because she was going to the head of the line. And I remember just being, if a moment like that happens, it's just like, oh yeah, that didn't happen. That was not real.
Yeah, what is this life? That's not what you sign up for. Nor when you go to theater school, when you study to become an actor, they're not teaching you how to handle spoiler questions the rest of your life.
Oh, no, they're not.
Has that been a strange adjustment?
Fielding spoiler questions back and forth.
You're like a ninja. You're a spoiler ninja.
I just zip it. Just nothing. Just
nothing?
Especially, I remember like for season 3, there was a lot of spoiler question things. So yeah, I do pretty much nothing.
So let's test your ninja skills briefly. Can you at least say how many of the scripts you read for season 4 before?
Yeah, I read them all.
You read them all. See, all the info is in that head.
Oh yeah. Let's just dish it out right now. Ruin Netflix.
No, we're not going to do that. But we do know that the setting is different. They keep saying, the tagline was, "We're not in Hawkins anymore."
Mm-hmm.
Were you surprised, excited by whatever the different setting is that we see this time around?
Yeah, I mean they do a great job. I'll say this. I think they've really having finished number 4, we're really set up right now. It's like stakes are high.
Yeah, we saw that stakes are high for Harbor. Poor Harbor lost like 6,000 pounds to go to that prison camp.
Yeah, and then COVID hit.
Is he gonna have to do it again? I hope not. Poor guy.
I gotta send him a motivational text. You got it.
Stay on that elliptical, right?
You got it. It's your best friend.
Do you have a vote on how far the show goes, just as a participant and a fan? Like, do you want one more
I think
season? Do you
like
want a movie? What do you want?
I feel like it would be kind of cool to do like a 1-2 sort of punch. Like
So
this
like
and
a 4 or
then
5?
yeah, that would be cool. I don't really know the definite plan what they're gonna do, but
Right.
to me that seems like it would be kind of a cool thing to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, okay, my other topic that we don't have to dance around, we can dive right into is,
Sure.
as you know, for the podcast, I've made this kind of new iteration of Happy Sad Confused. We talk comfort movies because
I love that.
especially in these times, we need to talk about the movies that we love, we go back to.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You chose a great one that I've seen probably 20 times.
Yes.
Tell us your comfort movie and why you selected it.
I selected The Fugitive. It is a great movie if you have not seen it. If you have not seen it, you should end this podcast, well, maybe finish it, and then go watch the movie. It's just great. It's just like a classic, I don't know, classic thriller. It's a movie that I watch with my family all the time. We actually just watched it when I was home in Boston this summer. It's great. It's just like the filmmaking is just classic. It just feels like a classic 90s sort of thriller. Also, I mean, Harrison Ford obviously is amazing in the movie, but Tommy Lee Jones is incredible. He is just like sarcastic and confident and just maybe has the coolest look ever. So I'm a big fan of his, and I think that yeah, it's a really fun movie.
It's kind of, yeah, you nailed it on a number of counts. It's kind of the best version of that kind of movie. It doesn't have any
Yeah.
pretense about being something more than it is. It's just like a
Mhm.
lean, mean, super simple premise. You know, for those that don't know, it's obviously Harrison Ford plays Richard Kimball. He's wrongfully accused of murdering his wife, and Tommy Lee Jones plays the marshal that's after him, and that's kind of all you need to know. And
Yeah, how nice is that? It's like such a simple setup, you know. I mean, I love a good twist. I love a good like psychological what the hell
yep,
moment. And there's a couple of like fun moments in this movie, but it really is kind of straightforward and just like there's something to be said about like really simple filmmaking that is suspenseful and there's a lot of tension. And it's like all about this like tension and then release and then tension and release and tension
yes.
and release. And it's like he gets in all these predicaments along the way where it's like you think he's going to get caught and they fake you. And then he's like just doing all this, it's fun. I heard aren't they remaking this movie? I
Well,
just heard this actually.
they did a short version, a Quibi version with Kiefer Sutherland in the. It's different characters, but yeah, little guy, little Quibi version.
But see, it's a little teeny guy.
Yeah, they play small people running after each
They
other.
play little tiny Quibi people.
So for context, the movie came out August 6th, 1993. I have a few years on you, so I remember when this came out. You do not. You were about 1 by my
I was
math.
in diapers, yeah.
When do you remember? Was this just always like on TV or part of your childhood for whatever reason? Do you remember how you encountered it?
My parents really love this movie. Yeah, I really, I've watched, and my sisters. I mean, I think we've just watched it. But it's like it was like that movie as a kid that you were like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. It kind of is like a little bit more serious because he's like, he's kind of framed for killing his wife. It's like, oh geez, it's like seems like so heavy. But yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly the first time I would have watched it.
You know,
It was probably 7 or 8 or 9 maybe or something like that.
It was directed, again, kind of an interesting history to this film because it's directed by a guy named Andrew Davis, who's, his filmography is solid, but it's not like this was like the film, the one that jumps out in his filmography. He did a lot of action movies. He did like Steven Seagal movies. The movie he did right before this was Under Siege, which is actually a pretty good Steven Seagal movie, I will say. But yeah, this one brings back Tommy Lee Jones, who was the bad guy also in Under Siege. We mentioned Harrison Ford. We have Joe Pantoliano, always great. Some really good character actors. Andreas Katsulas is Frederick Sykes. Jerome Crabbe is Dr. Nichols. I'm not going to spoil it, but he might not be all that he seems.
Yes.
And we see early roles from Julianne Moore and Jane Lynch. They pop up in the hospital.
I know. How crazy is that? I love Julianne Moore. She's She's incredible. Another movie, completely. Well, it's another movie. Is it okay if we bounce around in
Yeah,
movies right
let's do
now?
it. Yeah.
The movie, Safe, that Todd Haynes movie.
Oh, I haven't seen that in
You-
forever. That's a great one. Yeah.
I had never seen that movie, and we kind of did like a little Todd Haynes run in the quarantine at the beginning, and that movie is incredible. It actually kind of has like not super similar tone to that, but it's kind of got this like it's this bizarre movie about this woman who like inhales these fumes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a really amazing movie.
The yeah, Todd Haynes is a good rabbit hole to go down. And he's worked with Julianne a few times, right? He did the
Yeah.
melodrama. What's the now I'm blanking on the name
Yeah.
of it.
The one. Yeah, I know exactly.
Dennis Haysbert's in it and Dennis Quaid. It's great. Anyway.
Yeah, Dennis Quaid's the husband.
Yeah, yeah. So okay,
Yeah.
here's some things. Let's bounce around a little bit on Fugitive things. Some things that I love about the film. I love that it launches you right into it. Like right from the get-go, you're immediately like seeing the murder occur. He's being interrogated,
Hmm.
and you're also seeing, and this sounds a little weird, but like I'd never seen Harrison Ford with a beard. in my
I
life.
know. It's great though. I mean, honestly, the beard, and he gets to dye his hair too. It's kind of like a great little thing.
It's small, but it really actually it totally works. And yeah, I think it's really, you know, as you said, it's kind of the Tommy Lee Jones show though. Like when he enters the film, and I'm a little bit older than you. I remember the trailer for this. The trailer for this was essentially that big speech he gives to everybody rounded up to tell them, you know, to search every outhouse, hen house, whatever.
Yeah.
And just
Yeah.
the way he owns the screen, you can't take your
For
eyes
sure.
off.
For sure. And he's like irresistibly sarcastic too. When they're in the class, you know, I don't care when he's like in I mean, that's amazing. And something else that I noticed this on this most recent watch is how great. I mean, I feel like it's about to hit zeitgeisty level. Someone's gonna redo this, but like the opening title sequence is great. Like just the actual titles, how they like kind of disappear. Like, yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And also kind of the intro to the film, like you were saying, like the way that the way that they incorporate the credit sequence with like there's the incident at the house and it's kind of unclear what's happening, and then like I'm pretty sure he's already been sentenced to death, like right by when the credits are wrong.
Montage. Yeah, I think the credits. I saw something. I think the credits actually last 10 or 12 minutes because
it's like a really cool way to do that.
Yeah, it's also a really good Chicago movie. Actually, there's a real sense of place to this movie.
Another reason I love it because I lived in Chicago and I love when he's like, "What are they saying on this recording?" And the guy's like, "I don't know, merchandise mart." I love that part.
You also get the sense that like, and I don't know this for a fact, but the cops feel like they don't feel like actors. They feel like they found like Chicago cops, like the guys that are interrogating him, like totally.
The number one cop is classic, but the number two cop who like can't get the details straight and he's got like glasses and a big mustache too is great.
It's also, you know, they did U.S. Marshals, which was kind of the spin-off / sequel film. Not a great movie. I understand what they were. Oh, you've never seen it? You might want to check it out just as a Fugitive fan. I understand why they did it, because this is a movie that centers on, it makes Tommy Lee Jones kind of the star and his crew. And I get it because I do love the camaraderie, the kind of the effortless like camaraderie with him and Joey Pantoliano and all the other.
Yeah, totally.
They've been working together forever.
I know. That the chemistry of like that whole group is really, really spot on. You know, like the exactly what you're saying. It feels like these people have known each other forever. You know, it's just like perfect.
Have you seen?
I feel like that comes when people aren't like too precious about stuff. Like, you know what I mean? It seems like they just like showed up. They're like, they're not like putting a bunch of emphasis on any of these lines. It's just another day at the office with these people, and they're just like doing their job. It's like
totally. Have you seen by any chance John Mulaney's special, The Comeback Kid?
I have not. No.
Okay, so first I would highly recommend it just because John Mulaney is hysterical. But towards the end of his special, he does a little riff on the climactic scene in the ballroom when Harrison Ford comes out and basically calls out the bad guy.
Yeah, during the gala or whatever.
Exactly. And basically, trust me on this. If you appreciate The Fugitive, you will appreciate John Mulaney's The Comeback Kid and his riff on the end of The Fugitive.
Love this. I got to write this down again. Love suggestions.
So the movie was nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture. Again, very unusual for a movie of this kind. Tommy Lee Jones won Best Supporting Actor. And while he had obviously a hugely successful career, like this kind of launched him into a whole nother part of his career.
Yeah.
Would you be, I mean, Tommy Lee Jones, and I've said this before on the podcast, he's an infamously like, he's a tough guy. He's like, he's got a rep, especially around journalists. He's kind of tough with journalists. So
Is he really?
yeah, he's a hard-nosed guy. Would you be excited, intimidated at the prospect of working with a Tommy Lee Jones or a Harrison Ford?
Oh my God. Absolutely. Especially just because, like, imagine how many projects those guys have done. It's just like they are at a comfortability level on set that's like, no, I'm like a baby in this industry still, technically. We're talking about, I'm like 28 years old, and we're talking about pretty much like, this is kind of like the first movie I've really ever done. So,
Right.
yeah, I would love to work with someone. I feel just like so much to learn. There'd be like, I feel like every day, or it would be, imagine if it was just terrible. That would be honestly pretty funny.
No, but you're right. I mean, I think that when I think of those two, and you kind of alluded to this when you were talking about your first days on Stranger Things, like part of the beauty, I think when you started was like, you weren't in your own head. You could kind of just be that's the goal of any actor, right? Like you don't want to see the gears shifting. And someone like Tommy Lee Jones, everything feels like just effortless. There's no acting you can see.
Yeah. That's totally. And I think a lot of that has to do with just like being really comfortable and confident in yourself. And I imagine it would be a gold mine. Even if you showed up and he was probably really prickly, just being able to, something I love about Stranger Things is with David, Winona, with Brett Gelman, with Modine, with Paul Reiser, these people who are older, just being Carrie Elways, is just being able to watch them work like on set, actually just like between take and take, it's just really cool to like see how they do it, and nobody does it the same. It's just different people have kind of a different way, and it's like, what can I kind of steal from you, and what can I take and maybe use to make me feel more comfortable?
Have you stolen anything
or make me feel more confident, or what prep are you doing that might help me? That's like the best stuff. It's like it's like an apprenticeship. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like people who are like a record producer, or something like that. There's like a master and apprentice. I feel like it's cool to look at it that way sometimes. There aren't really any actor relationships like that, but it's cool to, glean some stuff from the pros. People have been doing it for a lot longer than you have.
What have you stolen, you think, from Harbor or Winona? Can you think of a prep technique, something they bring to the
Something
set?
that I've stolen. Well, nothing. I don't know. It's hard to think. It's hard to pull like specific details, but it's just. I'll have to get back to you on that one. But I will.
Let's bestow some arbitrary awards to The Fugitive. I think I know where this is going. But best performance in the film, who do we give the award to?
Well, I mean, I'd say it's a 50-50. I mean, I love me some Harrison's, and obviously Tommy Lee's great.
Yep.
But I think you probably would have to give it to Tommy Lee, because I think that it's maybe more crucial that role is like, if you had someone else in that role, the movie might not have worked. But if you had someone else who was pretty solid in Harrison's role, it could have still worked. He might be like the irreplaceable part,
I'll buy that. Do you have a award for best scene in the film? What's the scene that jumps out at you? Most rewatchable.
Best scene in the film. One of the scenes that I really like is when he is, I mean, obviously the one in the sewer, but the one that I really liked recently this last time was the scene where he breaks out, the train, goes off the rails.
Yep.
And what's the director's name?
Andrew Davis. Yep.
Davis. He does this really cool thing where he's following two prisoners escape. And you think that they're following Harrison Ford. You think they're about to catch him, but then I realize they catch the other. It's just like a classic, nice way to sort of subvert what you think is going to happen. And it's like, oh, that's really kind of a cool and smart trick that he did there.
The best that just reminded me, one of the best kind of switcheroos like that is the end of Silence of the Lambs. I don't know if you remember that. And
sure.
You think that they're coming to one door, and then you realize that she's at the fourth door. And you're like, oh,
definitely. Actually, Eugene uses this trick in Spree as well. There's a moment where I'm pulling up to what you think is Jesse Adams' house, and it's actually, the door opens and the split screen happens where there's two things going on, and it's actually someone else at Jesse's door, and I'm at this other character's door.
Nice.
Just spoiled a moment for a bunch of people, but you're gonna love it.
Is there a double feature we should program for people? I like to give people a second film that would go well with the comfort movie pick. If one doesn't come to mind for you, I have a pitch, but you go ahead.
Okay. I feel like I would want to do something like almost completely,
You're going a little.
completely different. I would maybe. Well, it's hard. I guess what's your pick, and then I'll do mine.
Okay, this one a lot of people probably haven't seen, but it's more of a curiosity because of the similarities.
Okay.
So again, I'm putting on my film nerd hat, forgive me. But the director, Andrew Davis, 2 films later, does kind of the same movie. He makes a movie called Chain Reaction, which is basically Keanu Reeves in the Harrison Ford role and a really good actor named Fred Ward in the cop chasing him. And it's essentially a man on the run. Rachel Weisz is with Keanu on this adventure. It's not as well done. It doesn't work as well, but it's just striking in that like same director, same structure, and it's interesting to see sort of what works and what doesn't in the second.
Right, exactly. Like what makes The Fugitive, and what makes that movie that movie. Yeah. That's cool. I guess another one, maybe like it'd be cool to watch like The Great Escape and The Fugitive, maybe. Yeah. That's kind of that maybe similar themes, I guess. I love The Great Escape. That's also a movie that I think is really, really excellent and really good at balancing tension too. That's like such a fun one to watch. The other one I was gonna say, I don't know why, I was gonna say The Witches of Eastwick. I just feel like that would be kind of a funny pairing too.
I love that movie. Yeah, that's an eminently rewatchable movie. Okay, movie. Totally. So in the last few moments, I just want to mention again, Spree. Everybody should check out. But I also want to mention Free Guy. Hopefully, movie theaters are coming back by the end of the year. Hopefully, we're going to see. Because that Free Guy, we need to see that on the big screen. That's a big spectacle that Sean Levy has directed, right?
Yeah, I think it's slated, I think, for the 11th of December right now. I mean, I'm sure that's all subject to change, but that's definitely something you're going to want to watch the big screen. I've seen a little bit of it, and it's pretty cool. I mean, they've done some pretty incredible things, and obviously, I mean, there's another one, meeting Ryan Reynolds. You're like, hi, Ryan. It's like crazy. But yeah. Hopefully, theaters open up soon. I miss going to the movies.
Me too. What's the memory of making Free Guy? You get to mix it up with some people I love, Jodie Comer, the YTD.
Yeah. I remember. I mean, honestly, Taika was like putting on a clinic on set. It was so cool to watch him do his thing. He's just like unlike any dude I've ever met. Kind of Sean sort of harkens him to like Robin Williams, his level of just like he's got like an endless barrage of new creative ideas. So it was like really fun to just be opposite of him. And obviously working with Jodie just felt like so comfortable. I was a huge fan of hers, obviously, before we started shooting. And yeah, I think she really crushes it. She's like, in my mind, the main character of the movie.
Cool.
She's incredible. Yeah, I can't wait for everybody to see this. And Ryan, he's like, he sets such a good tone for everybody on set. He sets this like collaborative and warm, inviting tone on set, and then you realize like, oh, everybody's like really doing some great stuff. It's really because he sets up this, him and Sean together are like, great energy, productivity, and creativity. That should be their slogan, business slogan.
Put their company together. What about you mentioned you've been doing a lot of music lately. When can we expect some new music from you?
Hopefully soon. Been very busy in that department. That's pretty much how I've been keeping my time. So I've been super busy doing that, and I will get some stuff out very soon.
I see the hair is pretty big. I'm trying to grow my hair out.
Yeah.
Joe Keery style to rival you. I think you're.
Yep. You just gotta not shower ever.
That's the key. That's the tip for all the fans out there. Just give up showering. It's overrated. Well, it's good to catch up with you, my friend. I'm sorry that we're not in some silly film festival enjoying, the spoils of Sundance, but I'll take these Zoom chats where I can get them, and
me too. We will be soon.
Yeah, exactly. And again, everybody, please check out Spree. It's in theaters if theaters are available to you, but it's also out on VOD and digital. Thanks, buddy.
You got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.